What's going on, everyone, from LowKick MMA? My name is Danny Podolsky, and I'm joined with Andre Petroski. He is set to return to the UFC Octagon in Atlantic City on March 30th when he faces Jacob Malkoun. Andre, thank you so much for taking the time.
You got it, brother. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure. First off, how this fight come together? You're in Atlantic City. It's pretty close to, Philadelphia, where you're from. How are you feeling heading into this one?
I feel good. I'm excited. Atlantic City is where I made my amateur debut, so my first ever MMA fight, and getting to go back is a special feeling.
Yeah, and it's about a week and a half out now. When do you leave for Atlantic City?
We leave on Tuesday.
Got you. It's got to be nice, for this one. You've traveled to a lot of different places for the UFC, but you're gonna have the home fans behind you in Atlantic City. It's got to be nice being pretty close to home.
Yeah, I mean the flights, especially before a fight, like the flights can definitely take a toll on you.
Yeah, and I gotta make a push for it because this is something that I've been pushing for a while. We gotta bring the UFC back to Philadelphia. I feel like it's getting there. Atlantic City's kind of close, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean Atlantic City's only an hour away, so honestly, Atlantic City's like the next best thing. Newark was pretty close too, but um, I think Atlantic City is just a better spot, to be honest.
Hmm. Is that or talk to me about that? Why Atlantic City over Philly?
Just like there's more like Atlantic City is a tourist destination. Philadelphia is not a tourist destination. I mean we have bigger arenas like the Wells Fargo Center can hold a lot more than the Boardwalk Hall, but
Yeah, so tailing off of that, you train at Henzo Gracie Philly, also at Marquez MMA here in Philadelphia. Talk, who been your main training partners for this camp and how's that been going?
it's been good. So uh my I've been training so I've been training at Team Taino, and wow. And damn, did you see that fucking scratch on the side of my car?
No, what happened?
My bad, brother.
No, you're all good.
Uh
You're all good.
uh yeah, I train at Team Taino also. We got dude, we have a whole crew of killers. One of my main training partners now has been Sean O'Malley. He wrestled at Drexel. He actually has like a sports psychologist program that he's been working,
Hmm.
and it's called Ardor and Grit.
The Art of Regret.
Ardor and Grit. If you get a chance, check him out on Instagram.
Hmm. Yeah, and so looking at this fight with Jacob Malkoun, have you gotten to watch the footage on him? What stands out to you, and what do you think gives you the advantage over him?
Yeah, I mean, luckily, like all of his fights, all of Malkoun's fights are online. So, and he's had quite a few UFC fights. So, like there's a lot of tape to watch. So my coaches have done a good job of studying him, and as well as I have, and I think we know a lot. We see a lot of his patterns and what he does. I just think that I match up really well against him in general. My striking's better, and he likes to grapple. You know, my purpose has always been to prove that I'm the best grappler in this division, and so it's just another opportunity to put another feather in my cap.
Yeah, and so coming into this fight, Jacob Malkoun, right? You won your first five UFC fights. Now coming off the loss, does that kind of change the mindset? And do you feel a little bit like coming off that loss, you could have? It takes away that feeling of invincibility almost for a UFC fighter. It can kind of be a good thing to get that loss in the UFC.
I've lost fights before. It's not the first time I've lost. Um, and I hate to put it this way, but I don't really put like as much stock into it just because of the situation. Um, yeah, I mean, I was 5 days notice. I flew from across the country, across the world, and short notice. The weight cut was crazy. Yeah, it was just the whole situation was less than ideal. And I've done them before. I've done short notice fights before, but I was never this heavy. I was never as heavy as I was for this one. And I wasn't on the other side of the world. I was literally in Thailand. We flew for like 30 hours to get to Vegas for the fight. And yeah, it was just, it is what it is. Like I think that I can be a little bit smarter now about taking fights and saying yes, but I don't regret it. It was a learning experience.
Mhm. And you look at, you started 5-0 in the UFC, one setback on short notice, right? Like, where do you go from here? And what are your long-term goals for 2024? So if all goes well and you beat Jacob Malkoun, when do you want to get back in there? And like, what by the end of 2024, let's say, where do you see yourself?
Yeah, so like I said, my goal in fighting is to continue to prove that I'm the best grappler in the division.
Mhm.
And so there's a couple of good matchups for me. I love that Rodolfo Vieira fight.
Mhm.
Talking about a jiu-jitsu world champion, multiple time jiu-jitsu world champion. I love obviously the Bo Nickel fight. He can only run for so long. But yeah, I mean that's I love the grappler matchups. Like I want to show that my experience and my background and my abilities are the best in the division.
Yeah, I'll throw in another name there too. I think Paul Craig versus Andre Petroski would be an awesome fight. He's a grappler at 185, just at the bottom of the rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think he's got a little exposed in his last two fights, but yeah, I'm interested.
Fair enough. And I want to ask, about your, friend and teammate Joe Pyfer. He was obviously in a big 5-round main event with Jack Hermanson recently. He got off to a good start in that fight. Hermanson was able to take over in the later rounds, but how has he responded to that loss, and where do you see him going from here?
I think it's just a matter of experience. Like, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry to me. Like, if it's a 3-round fight, Joey wins. He
Mhm.
obviously won the first 2 rounds. But because there was 2 extra rounds, Hermanson, the leg kicks paid off way more than Joey's punches. And
Mhm.
I think that's just a matter of experience. I think that when you invest in the body and the body shots, that they pay dividends. And that's just things you learn from being in multiple 5-round fights with Jack, Jack has been in multiple 5-round fights.
Mhm.
Now, and I'm not saying this because Joey's my teammate, but if they were to fight in a week from now, like I'm betting on Joey, like 100%.
Is that because you think the knockout power of Joe Pyfer will
I
hold the?
just think he's a better fighter. I just think he was less experienced. And I think that um, in the first round, Joey landed some good calf kicks. And if you saw Hermanson in the back after the fight, like he was on crutches just as much as Joey,
Mhm.
but Joey got away from the calf kicks when he started landing punches. And he kind of got wrapped up in trying to knock him out. And Hermanson, being the more experienced fighter, as far as 5-round fights goes, was like, no, I just need to keep kicking this leg. Like, I don't need to get a knockout. I just need to keep chipping away at this calf.
Mhm. Yeah, fair enough. And I want to ask about, another one of your teammates, Sean Brady. He was supposed to headline this card against Vicente Luque, pulled out with injury. Do you have any update on why he had to pull out? And, has he been able to train with you guys still?
Um, Not really sure. I think the timeline didn't work for him.
Mhm.
Um, I think he just wanted more time to prepare. Yeah.
Have you gotten
Yeah, I
word,
don't know.
Have
Some
you
people
done?
don't like doing like short notice fights.
Yeah,
They
fair
need like a lot of people like more like a longer camp, like 12 weeks,
enough.
you know?
Have you got? I'm assuming you have, but I know Sean Brady's a weight class down here at middleweight. He's at 170, but he's one of the best grapplers at 170. What is it like grappling with him and getting to train with him?
It's good. It's a different look. I used to train with him a lot more than I do now, but it's a different look. Like he's very like positionally solid. Like he doesn't get in bad positions, and he's got good conditioning. Like he doesn't get very tired very easily.
Mhm.
Um, but he's super stingy. Like very hard to get into good positions on him. You got to like force scrambles.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, so looking at your division, Dricus Duplessis just beat Sean Strickland to claim the middleweight belt. How did you think? What do you think of that fight? And kind of looking at that title picture now, who do you think is next? And yeah, just what are your thoughts on the title picture at 185?
Um, I think that they really like Strickland. So I would imagine that he would get a rematch at some point.
Mhm.
Um, and obviously they love the Adesanya um, Duplessis the angle with all being from Africa,
Mhm.
and I think that that would be interesting. They could sell that, so I'm sure they're working both. I'm sure they're negotiating with both parties and seeing where they can get the best deal.
Yeah. Well, Andre, I'm wishing you the best of luck. And just my final question: March 30th, Andre Petroski, Jacob Malkoun. Andre, give me your official prediction.
First round submission or TKO.
There you go. Guys, Andre Petroski returns to the Octagon on March 30th in Atlantic City when he takes on Jacob Malkoun. You won't want to miss this fight. Andre, if there are any socials, teammates you want to shout out, platform is yours.
Yeah, definitely check me out on Instagram at Andre Petroski, and then check out my gym, Team Taino Martial Arts and Fitness. We're here in South Jersey. Yeah, yeah, check us out.
Awesome. Guys, Andre Petroski is back. He returns at UFC Atlantic City on March 30th. Andre, thank you so much for taking the time. Best of luck to you.
See you, brother.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.